I'm doing okay.
Okay, man.
If I had known y'all come here and stuff, I'd have had my hair fit and looking pretty.
Oh, you still look pretty.
You had cap, better tell the truth.
Yeah, you do.
I ain't taking the cap off.
No,
I would ask you to.
Sitting up here.
All right then. Now what we're gonna do? He's gonna ask you a series of questions, Miss Billups. We want to catch everything natural the way it is, and Corky, I think. Check my level. I'm not level. I'm not level.
Taking a picture now.
Yes, ma'am. Make sure.
Yes,
I'm trying to get that good side.
Just don't have me up there looking ugly.
No, ma'am.
No,
But I ain't never been ugly.
No, you ain't never been ugly. We know
I'm
better.
ugly now.
No, you ain't.
No.
You ought to quit that.
Still a good looking woman.
You ought to quit that. Now, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon. Hello, Miss Billups. Today we're interviewing Miss Mary Billups, a native Mississippi and a native Tibbee. Miss Billups,
Yes.
first of all, can you tell me your birthday and age?
My birthday is February 22nd. I came in 1911. 22nd this past February. I'm 97 years old.
How are you connected to Tibbee? How are you connected to Tibbee?
With Tibbee,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just living here now. But connected when I was born in Tibbee.
Okay. How have you seen it change?
How long what?
How have you seen it change?
Had it changed?
Yes, ma'am.
A whole lot of changes.
What was it like growing up here?
What I like to do what?
What was it like growing up here?
What was it like growing up?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, anybody that ever was in Tibbee, or wherever they was in Mississippi at that time, can tell how we brought up in Tibbee. Just like the black was brought up other places.
Okay. What do you want people to know about Tibbee?
What I want what?
What do you want people to know about Tibbee?
I want you to know about Tibbee.
Yes, ma'am.
All I want you to know about Tibbee now is Tibbee. Far as I know, is Tibbee. We got a lot of black neighbors live in Tibbee.
Okay.
But once upon a time, wasn't but a few. And down here was not called Tibbee.
What was it?
Down here was called Sandland.
Okay.
That's what it was called. And what I know about, we had a right up there where you cross the railroad. We had a depot for a train station. I think it was post office. I think everything else was in that one little place right at when you cross that railroad up there going to West Point. And they had a gin in Tibbee, and rich white folk, and poor Negroes. That's why as far as I know what they had in Tibbee.
Now, where did you grow up? You grew up in Tibbee County? You grew up in Tibbee County?
You know, I left Tibbee, called Sandland, and moved up there to Tibbee County, where you see that big house sitting up there on the right, where the Pateros live. It's a big white house with a Shiloh sitting up there. Great big old tall thing, we call it Shiloh, whatever it is. You know, my mother moved out of Tibbee, crossed the river up there in Tibbee County. That's where I ended up getting grown in, Tibbee County.
What was your education like there?
My education?
Yes, ma'am.
I finished half of 9th grade, right up there. It wasn't quite back this far, but it was in Tibbee County. I really I don't know what to call it then. It was Tibbee County. I went to school there under Miss Laura Foster's. She wasn't able to teach no higher than 8th grade. But she said I was so good, she taught me to 9th grade. So I went to 9th grade.
What did you do after that?
The school was named, Crossroads School.
Okay. What did you do after the 9th grade?
When I go there, I left there. Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Stayed in Tibbee till I got grown, went to Inverness, Mississippi. Stayed there till I got tired and went to Chicago, Illinois. Got tired of Chicago. I left there and went to Cleveland, Ohio. When I left Cleveland, Ohio, I came back to Mississippi, I think it was 63, if I make no mistake.
And what did you do in all those different places?
Different places?
Yes, ma'am.
I worked in Chicago 15 years, making automobile parts. I worked in Cleveland 3 years, working at the hospital. The last work I did was at Dugan's home, working in that hospital when they first opened up. I was about the first black Negro that slept in there.
Okay. Now you talk
I
about.
stayed there 5 years.
Okay. Now you talk about
Huh?
race. You talk about race. What part did racism play in your life?
About the race?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I tell you about the race. In certain places, the same thing everywhere. But here you know yourself, the race of that now is almost like it was when I was here.
Okay.
Especially in Mississippi. Now,
So
the
things.
people are nice now than they used to be. So it's better in Mississippi where I am than it used to be.
During the recent election, what were your thoughts when you found out? During the recent election, what were your thoughts when you found out that Mr. Obama had won the presidency?
What election?
Yes, ma'am.
What we were talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you know, we was talking about some of everything, but you know what other people was talking about. So now what happened, we black race, we can't help it because we didn't do it by ourselves.
Right.
It was others out there other than the black race.
That helped him.
But let me tell you something. When I was growing up, I did not know what it meant. But my mother used to say just like this. She said, one day, she said, the bottom rail is coming to the top.
Okay.
Now, you younger now, you can see what she meant. Now, I'm old, I just not seeing what she meant. You see what she meant? Ain't it coming to the top?
Absolutely.
It's the only way.
So you think that the country is better off, or what do you think?
Better off now?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Lord. In a way, we better off now in a way. But in coming up, in the po time, we black people, we recognize with one another. If you kill a hog, she gonna take sister so this way, ain't but that much. But now they kill a hog, they take the hair and put it in a sack and put it in a creek, and you ain't know to kill that hog.
Okay.
But in that time, in our race, it was a good time because everybody seemed to love everybody. They would give everybody a little taste of this and take this little taste, sister, so and so. Take it to it. It wasn't much, but you were welcome to it.
Okay.
And we didn't suffer for nothing to eat. We raised our food, hogs, cows, went to the field, potatoes, corn. We raised it.
Okay.
Sometimes we wouldn't make but one bale of cotton. We didn't have nothing coming out of it. But that's what we did.
Okay.
We didn't go around begging. Everybody was trying to help everybody. You get sister so-and-so this, you get sister so-and-so this. But now, people now get 15 cents. You ain't got but a nickel. They don't know you. But that's money, not everything. Kindness, friendship, helping one another. That's the Lord's work.
Okay. And was those some of the values that your parents taught you, or what was it like growing up in your household?
in the what?
What was it like growing up in your household? How many siblings did you have? Was that stuff that your parents taught you?
My parents taught me, I guess, what parents should teach children.
Okay.
And when our parents spoke to us, we listened. And when she said, company is there, say, go get our children, go to play. We're going to play. We ain't gonna run in the house and say, Mama this, Mama that. If we come in the house, she didn't have to say nothing to us. Okay. She'd look at you. You know what I mean? Get back out there and play. But now, the children is raised by children that you can see yourself. You send your child to Head Start. He come home to his mama. She said, do so and so and so. She said, Miss so and so told me to do it this way. You see what I mean? Well, it gets raised at Head Start. They ain't raised at home. They gonna do it Head Start. People said, that's what Mama said.
Tell us about.
And in those times, children obeyed their parents. But now, the parents obeying the children.
So what needs to change there?
What need to change?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the parents sitting down, talking to, they ain't got to whoop them, sit down, teach their children, talk to their children, scold them when they do wrong. When they tell them don't do it, mean for them not to do it. And if they do it, kind of around the legs or somewhere. If you go to jail, let them carry you to jail. The children run to them, call 911. Let them go to jail, but do it like this. If you take my child to jail, take me to jail, because I'm trying to raise my child. While I'm in jail, you take him home with you. You keep him till I come out. When I come out, if you do wrong, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go right back where you just brought me from.
Yeah.
Now, don't that make sense?
It makes sense.
You got any children?
Yes, ma'am.
How you raising them?
Same way.
Do what you say.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to talk about. You got to feed him, clothe him, sleep him, take care of him, and do everything. And he gonna run I'm gonna call 911. And he call 911. Can his butt. Go to jail. You go to jail and say, you take him with you till I get out of jail. Because if he do it, I'm gonna do it again.
That's right.
So if people start raising their children like that now, it'd be a better world.
Absolutely.
It don't bother nothing that don't belong to you. If you want to ask for it.
Do you think some of the kids can get this in church and in the community? Do you think the community plays a role in helping with some of that?
The community plays. Do you think it could help you raise the children?
Yes.
You know why? Because a lot of people say, my child don't lie. Now, and if the other people do something to them and try to help you raise them, they made, baby, you don't touch my child, don't bite my child tell the truth. You got to, if the people would bring up children like I was brought up, go down. I ain't gonna say we were bad too, imagine. But if our parents hadn't tanned ourselves, whooped us or something, we'd have been just like the children is today.
So tell me about your brothers and sisters. How many brothers and sisters?
My brothers and sisters.
Yes, ma'am. How many?
Well, I wasn't raised up with nothing but, I raised up with two of my brothers. All my brothers dead. And, let me see, it was Lucinda, Judy Alice, Mary Hattie. Those were the girls.
Okay.
But we wasn't just raised up among boys. See, I can get out there and plow like a man. I can hitch up a wagon and drive where I want to drive in it. I can cut wood. I can saw wood. I can bust wood. I can do anything practical man can do. I can get out there and pay a mule behind a mill buster and I can go with it. See? I can drive a wagon anywhere I want to drive it. Hitch my own mules up. My daddy got me a pony, ride where I want to ride on it. I get on Florida and go where they send me. My horse named Florida. Go where they send me. But I love children. I got two in the grave, twin boys, Isaac and Jacob. They dead.
What were they like growing up?
But if I had raised them living, they'd have been two boys that the world would have known about them.
How old were they?
And I wouldn't have had to beat them to death. Yeah, my mom and dad whooped me. And when you know when you're hurting, you can't help but to cry. You say, shut up, you better dry them tears up.
How old were your boys?
Huh?
How old were your boys?
My boys?
Yes, ma'am.
They died at birth.
Sure.
But now, whipping me and sitting down and teaching me, is because I'm here today. By listening and obeying my parents.
Okay. Now, I know you're big in the church, so what role did...
Huh?
I know you're big in the church, so what role did the church play in your life?
What's wrong with the church?
Say, what role did the church play?
With me?
Yes, ma'am.
I was brought up in the church. It's from Sunday school to church. I go to church with old piece of shoes on, hide the piece of shoes, put on my good shoes when I got in reach of the church.
So tell me about your experience in the church. When did you profess?
Experience in the church?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a Baptist.
When did you profess your religion?
Huh?
When did you get saved?
When I was 12 years old. I was baptized right there at Tibbee Creek. Where that old bridge at. I can walk through the spot where they came in the water at.
So what was that experience like?
Huh?
What was that experience like?
What experience?
What was it like?
When you trying to be a Christian,
Yes, ma'am.
it's just as fast as the sun shining on you. You feel like flying away. See? You got God on your side. And that leaves you to know you can get out there and do everything you did before you became a child of God. Because when you be a Christian, you got to be praying. You got to guide. Somebody to guide you.
Okay.
See? But I just don't know nothing but boom, 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 and I might kill this guy, I might steal for this guy like that. That stuff wasn't going on then. If it was, I didn't know about it.
Okay.
We went to church every Sunday. We didn't have no cars. If we didn't have a wagon ride, we walked it to church. And hide them old piece of shoes and put on the good shoes before you get to church.
What's your fondest memory of?
Huh?
What's your fondest memory of church, of going to church?
Well,
do you remember a sermon that you were taught when you were younger?
Well, in going to church, you sat up there and listened to what the preacher said. And when I was coming on, you were going to church. You were going to church.
And what
But
was
now, I better not talk about this. Or now it's not like it used to be.
What do you want to say?
Huh?
What do you want to say? You holding back.
What I want to do what?
You were holding back. You were gonna say something about church.
About the church?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, all the churches I remember were good churches at the time. I was a Baptist, and I'm still a Baptist, but the church I had was New Hope Baptist Church up there, across that railroad, on the old road, right down the rock road. And being brought up in the church, well, see, you follow that. Wherever you go into church. And I joined the John Chapel Methodist Church out here with my husband. But I'm a Baptist. But once in Christ, it ain't but the one. See? So churches don't matter. I go to church, any church, Catholic church, any church. The Church of God is not but one church. But it's a whole lot of denomination churches now, but they but one church. And that's the Church of God. So, cause when he said up on this rock, I build my church. So now I can't name the thousands of different nationality churches now, and you can't either.
So tell me a little bit about your husband.
About my who?
Your husband.
My
Mr.
brother.
Billups.
Huh?
Mr. Billups. You mentioned Mr. Billups.
But my brother.
Your husband.
My husband.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, my husband, he was a Methodist when he was born, I guess. But he was a Methodist till he died. So that's why I'm in Jones Chapel Church now.
But tell me about when y'all met.
When we met,
Yes, ma'am.
we were just about raised up together. We lived about far from one another, probably from here to where Daddy Bennett lived, up on that little hill over there. We were neighbors, we weren't no strangers. We were raised up together. And after moving around, he moved to one place, I went to another. And when I saw him again, it was in 1955, he found me.
Okay.
So now that's how we met. We wasn't no strangers to one another. We just raised up together until he got big enough to leave Mississippi.
Okay.
So and he's not no stranger. Like wasn't nobody I just met. I knew him and his family too. But we used to go to the house and get milk, and his mother would make him walk us back to my mother's house.
Okay. So what do you, if you had to pick one thing what do you enjoy doing most?
What is my choice?
What do you enjoy doing most?
Just being who I am and try not to be somebody else. See, the best part is in the world. You don't go out there to Joneses. You do the best you can yourself.
Okay.
Grow up loving people, treat everybody right. Don't go out with a bad heart toward nobody. If they don't care for you, treat them right.
Now
And do as God says. Love everybody unconditionally. You can love people and you ain't never seen them. Now, I might say this much. I've been here a long time. I was a black America. This is one thing I got to say. I've never been to Africa. My parents never been there. Now, this is just what I want to know, why we are African Americans.
Because
You asked me that question.
Our descendants, it's theorized that our descendants come from Africa.
Our what?
Our descendants come from Africa.
Look, if our descendants came from Africa, why ain't so much around here saying let's answer that question. Okay, if we had somebody here, there's some old people. I've never seen an old person that I know had nobody in Africa. We are black, but we are Americans. Now.
And what does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me, because this is my home. I don't know nothing about the people in Africa. I ain't never been there. And none of my family ever been there. Your family younger than mine, has your family been there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, how can we be African? We didn't bring ourselves over here. We didn't mess ourselves up. We had a name as black or colored people. You got that tape on me? I'm going to ask you a question, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I was born black. My mother's black. They may be brown skinned, but we came here black.
Right.
And I've seen Thai-tongue children, I've heard no African children speak African, unless they went over there and learned it. We are, I don't know where the people get that from. I'm not the high up here. Mm-hmm. I don't know where people come out to we African American. We didn't come from Africa. We are American, black Americans.
Okay. I agree.
You done been to school since me.
I agree.
But what you know, African American. How are we African American? Look, let me ask you one question. Why is our race crossed up? You ask me something, I ask you something.
Our race, in my opinion, is crossed up for those very reasons.
Uh-huh.
Not having...
We wanted it.
I think a tree grows best when it has strong roots.
Uh-huh.
And I think that our roots are too firm in trying to assimilate to what white America wants us to be, rather than having our own identity. I think that the basis of that comes out a little bit in the things that we do, but we've gotten away from those very things you talked about in terms of if you kill a hog, then everybody got a piece. That sense of community is what, for whatever reason, we got away from. And I think when you cut yourself off from those roots, then you cease to grow.
Well, look, the way I see it, it wasn't cut off from you. I'm gonna get out here. You over me. I'm gonna catch that ball there, and I'm gonna make you part of my color. And then you gonna get out there and make your color part of mine. Well, now, what crossed up out there? You come in black. Now, what crossed up out there?
You getting a little bit of everything?
You take this off there. I want to ask you one question. Cut that right there.
Okay.
Cut the voice off. Right. I want to ask you a question. Where the other boy is?
He's over there.
I want to ask you one question. Now, don't put this on there now. Look, have you ever seen a black man get a white baby? Answer that question.
No, ma'am.
Okay, you ever seen a white man get a black baby?
Yes, ma'am.
Wouldn't I read between the lines then? You hear me, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you know what I mean, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
If I got to put this here cap here over top of this here for the look in your face, I'm hating you.
Right.
But I ain't gonna put no cap on you down there.
Right. That's true.
Now what is that?
This.
Maybe I'm learning you something you don't know.
You teach him something. You teach him
Now,
something.
what I'm trying to say, now figure that out yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They
want you to.
If you ever seen a black man get a white baby, a white man get a black baby, you come and tell me about it. Mm-hmm. Now, if you can't stand my face, why are you standing any further?
Right.
Huh?
There's a need to.
You must have is in love with what I had.
Right.
If you had to veil your face, you want it.
Right.
Y'all grown men, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you can write you a book with some of it.
I hope so.
But I said don't put it on air because I want to keep my head till God take it off me.
Okay. You think that
But now you understand what I'm trying to say.
You think you would be in danger of speaking your mind in this day and age?
Yeah. You don't never, Dad, you don't never get out of danger around these folks. Ain't they got them folks out there who go around killing folks? Ain't they got them out there? You don't know who they is, but they out there.
That's true.
But they tell me to right here in Tibbee.
I hadn't heard that.
But now see, you got to think. You can think, you're the oldest age.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you is. You can think for yourself. You got brains.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just look. Well, how come he white and I'm black? See what I'm trying to get you to see? But you denied.
Your own blackness.
They ain't gonna say, oh, that's my child. If it is, it's gonna be through the teeth. Anybody gonna hear it?
Yeah.
And then we got some people out there, yeah, take that. I'm going with that stuff. Cause he get out there and kick you in the body like he will mine.
Okay.
So you got to look, you got to see. That's what God gave you 5 senses for. You got to think, and then when you see, you can iron it out yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a whole lot to go through with. Y'all is, I ain't.
So how do we do that?
You pray. Ask God for guidance. And if you're in honest, He'll guide you. He put thoughts in your head and your mind. But you got to talk to God, you got to mean it. You ain't got to be playing, you got to mean it. Because your God moves mountains.
That's true.
Okay. And ain't nobody, your brother, your sister, anybody, you cannot trust but one person. And that's the man above. That's why you should be glad you got somebody higher than everybody. Now just think of this. Think of this. Just think. I don't care if you got billions, you ain't got nothing. Okay. The people were so important, and prophets or whatever they was. Mary was born by Jesus Christ, I'm sure. Okay. Mary gave birth to a child. She wasn't good enough to go in nobody's house. You see them dogs and mules and cows and horses out there? The woman had to be born out there with the beasts. Now, that man who was born among the beasts wasn't good enough for to be born in a house. Where he at now? Sitting up on the throne, on the whole universe and everybody in it. Think of that. Had you thought of that?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's the poorest person ever come on earth. And the richest person ever been on earth. Because he up there, he owned everything in the earth, on the earth, and on the earth. You see, that's why I tell you, riches don't mean nothing. A rich man is poorer than the poorest. Because he came here with nothing, and you ain't never seen nobody come back and eat you. You can put 50 checkbooks in there, and you ain't never seen that rope back and come up here.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you ought to, when you're poor, you should be proud. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. So now, if you ain't got God on your side, you lost. Because there ain't nothing to guide you. Don't you see these children right here now humping up in the shoulder? Boom, boom, boom. Don't care who, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Well, that's where all that come from. They believe in themselves and nobody else. You can't believe in nobody but one man. And that's the one up there. Because he ain't going to let you down. He with you every second. You can't move an eye unless he with you. You can't make a step unless he with you. So that's who you're supposed to put confidence in. Jesus Christ, not man. Because he will let you down. So remember that.
I remember. So how do we reach that younger generation? How do we reach them?
How will we reach them? That's what the preachers out there trying to do now, but they can't reach them. So you just got to pray. And you can't just pray for one man, you got to pray for the universe. Now that's what you have to do, because there's people out there don't know the Lord's Prayer. So child, you got a whole lot to do here on this earth. You can't trust your own people. Ain't but one somebody you can trust, that's God. You can call him up anytime, any day, any minute. He can serve every one of us at one time. And he can stack us down and trunk it up down. At one time. Whole universe, he can do that. So it's best for us to do, treat everybody right, whether they treat us right or not. You pass by somebody and speak and they don't speak, you smile. That's a star head in your crown. You don't get mad because you don't speak. And you see somebody there, oh, he think he's something because he got a few niggas, don't worry about that. He ain't got no on you, he pours your ears. Mm-hmm. See? So you have to talk to people. People got to talk a lot of stupid talk. You just, well, so-and-so, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. I got a nephew out there now. Got 2 more years in school. He's a band leader. Everybody's pulling for him. Okay. If he don't trust in the Lord, ain't nothing gonna do him no good. Because you can't do nothing by yourself. And you can't, cause you bigger, you can't go just looking over me, how much as you is.
We're all created equal in the eyes of God.
So that's what you got to learn. When people do you harm, pray for them. You pray for people. You don't get out there from, just pray for them. Turn them over to the Lord. The Lord will work with it. And you'll be saying, you don't know how you're going to work with it. And God will work with it. He don't know it. He be wondering, what how come this happening to me? Okay. You see what I'm trying to say? See, God is working with him for him to slow down on this.
Okay. So
but one thing gonna keep you going is talk to Jesus. Mean what you say. Try to treat everybody right. I'm teaching that boy right now. I think he's 16 or 15 or something. Now see, this is what you can easily do. You come into my house right now and sit down here. What you do, I don't like it. Well, the next time you be in your company, say, well, I'm gonna let you do so and so. Well, I said, okay, but I can get rid of you. I said, look, child, my mama told me to go to the store. I forgot I got to go to the store. See y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow don't ever come. Don't get that crowd no more. Yeah, why can you didn't come say, oh man, my mama had me busy, or somebody had sensitive thing, I couldn't make it back. But you carry that every time. You say, I ain't gonna ask that nigga nothing else because he don't never want to be with us. You see? That's how you ain't got the fuss to get rid of it.
Just keep yourself under control. Yes, ma'am. Now I want to go back a little bit and ask you about World War II. What do you remember about World War II?
Let me tell you about World War II. I don't bit more know about World War II or World War I. No more what I heard when the tour Pearl Harbor. I don't know about no war. Because to my knowing, nobody that was close to me enough to know they could come home from the war to tell us nothing about the war. I don't know about no war now. Nothing. But the only thing I know was what things I read in the paper. I don't know about no war. See, I read quite a bit, but now I can't see how to read with bifocals or nothing. But what I could do, I do. Now I can write too, but I can't dot nothing there, but I can write.
Okay.
You see, I can't place the spots on it, but I can write. So that's the way that goes. With the World War II, and I know I had people in there. I don't even know nothing about that door. Nothing.
So in a nutshell, who is Miss Mary Billups?
Who?
Who is Miss Mary Billups?
Who Miss Mary Billups?
Yes, ma'am.
You mean me, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, when I came, when I was born, he's up there in the courthouse. I was named Mary Adele Garth. That was my name when I was born. I ain't never used nothing but my first name. I never used Mary Adele, but that's my name. And that's far as I know about that. I went to school when I went to school. But I went to school. The first school I went was right up there. The old house was sitting up there. You see that Baptist church yet? It was an old church then, different now. But I went to school there with a ABC book, they called them. Well, see, that was the alphabet book. It was a book made out of cheesecloth. And they had 2 or 3 leaves in it, but it was made out of cheesecloth. But when I went to school, I knew my alphabets. Because Mama had taught them to us. And at that time, older people would teach the children the Lord's Prayer. They had children right there, they don't even know the Lord's Prayer. See what I'm trying to tell you? So now, that's the way I came up from at home. I went to school, I learned my alphabet. I knew them before I went to school because my parents had taught them to me. And my teacher at that time, his name was John Kidd. It was a house, it had 3 steps to it. We go up to it in their little 1-room house. I went to school. But when I left there was another big school that they called it Munger School or Walthall, whatever it was. Went to school out there long and played, learned how to play little basketball. Then after we moved from right there where Joe B. Mother used to live. We moved from there and out Tibbee County. So I was out of Clay County. I wasn't just raised up, I was out of Clay County. Because this was not Tibbee down here. This was Sandland, that's what they called it. Sandland. And Tibbee was up there where you see that big white house sitting on the right there at that railroad. Big old white house sitting there. And Mr. Walker lived there. My grandmother used to work for him. But we moved from down here, right up there, where that first house you get when you leave here. The first house you get, you pass them 2 churches. Over on the right, that's where we used to live. It was a big old house then. We used to live there. And we left there in my childhood. Then went in Tibbee County. That's where we was.
So were your mom and dad?
Huh?
So was your dad a farmer, or what did your mom and dad do?
Where did my mom and dad?
No, what did your mom and dad do for a living? How'd they make money?
My mother?
Yes, ma'am, and your dad.
But I don't know now where my mother went to school, nothing like that. I don't know nothing about how she came up with nothing.
I'm saying, what did they do when they were raising you? Were they farmers, or were they teachers, or?
So were they farmers?
Yes, ma'am.
My daddy worked on the railroad, and my mother was a farmer when we did farm. And when we farmed, I was big enough to work there with them.
You have a big field?
Huh?
You have a big field?
A what?
A big field. I mean, a large farm,
Yeah,
or was
we
it
didn't have
a truck patch?
No large plantation farm. We just had a farm big enough to raise corn, potatoes, and peas, and raise hogs, chicken, and a cow. That's the kind of place we was on. But see, we wasn't. We didn't live like the most people was renting and sharecroppers from these white folks. See, my dad and his brother was in a double house over there where you see that house where that shallow at there. And I reckon I guess they was renting the place. I don't know what they was doing. But we wasn't no sharecroppers. They had to say you made 2 bales of cotton and you likely got out of there. We didn't live in them kind of place. I don't know nowhere we lived that we were sharecroppers.
Okay. So what was in all those 97 years, what was the happiest, what's the happiest memory you have?
I had?
The happiest memory.
The happiest moment I had?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the happiest moment I had is when I got converted. But the most happiest moment I had when I would be going to school, and I was happy in school. I was a good speller, good reader, and I was able to participate in everything that come along in school. And I used to love math. I know a little now, but not too much.
Okay.
But I can subtract, add, and divide, and I can count.
Now did you?
And I don't need a pencil all the time to count.
You never thought about teaching?
Teaching, no. I ain't never want to be a teacher. I don't know nobody in my family, or my sisters or brothers, was a teacher, and I always said they want to be a teacher.
So now tell me about your basketball skills.
Basketball.
Yes.
I didn't play long enough to know what it was right now. Cause when we played back, we had on something called bloomers. We played right there with a school right over there. But where it's right across over there. You cross that road. It's called the CFU. There was a school there. They called it the Munger School or something. And then they gave it another name, because somebody else moved and gave it another name. But I went to school out there with Miss Sophie Garn and Miss Mary Harris. Those two people. But when I went to school and finished the 9th grade, I ran on the road where you see called the hill, that's dope, but it was a little further back down the road this way. But I went to school there, and that's where I got Miss Laura Foster carried me further than what they allowed her to 9th grade. And I had a brother in St. Louis at that time. I had, but he came to get me to put me in college up there, high school, and my mom and dad wouldn't let me go. So that's where I went in school. But now, we got them in school. Some of them I know, MDs, HDs, PhDs, everything else. But now, they ain't sit down and talk to me, or maybe to you. You don't know what they're talking about. They wouldn't understand what you're talking about either. So we learned what we supposed to learn. We didn't learn out there from the white folks, what they got there. We learned what we supposed to learn. And some of you now know more than them PhDs, them DDs, and all them things. Because what they talking about, you don't know about it. And what you talking about, they don't know nothing about it. Because the thing they do now, we wasn't taught to do them. We got the learning that our foreparents got. Now you see these children right today, they cannot do what I did. I can't do what they did. They doing out there what the white man printed for the teachers to teach, and they teaching that to them. But the best sense you got is the sense you learned when you come along going to school. Now right now they wouldn't understand you. You would understand something they say, because you know some of the stuff they say now is stupid. See? Okay. Let me show you something. You still can take your pencil and do what you want to do it, right? Okay. If you go up there and all you know, okay, when this thing get out of fix, you got to sit there and try to keep it in your head till it gets fixed. If it's out of fix, you can take your pencil and go on about your business, right? Okay. Now they goes on and show you don't know what they're teaching right now, and you younger. You don't know. Now you in business now. The electricity going down. You ain't got that pencil nowhere. You got to wait maybe 2 days for it to come up, but you got your pencil, you can take your pencil and do what you want to do. Now you see the difference? Ain't that a lot of difference?
Yes, ma'am.
All right now. That old sense is the best sense you ever heard of.
How do we get kids back to that?
How can you get the kids back? You can't. Not unless the old somebody back in can teach them like the folks taught when they're back there. You can't get them back there now. No, they tell you now, I don't want to learn that. That's too slow. So you got to stand there, pip, 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 pip. You got to wait till it moves. Waiting on it. You got your pencil in your head. You ain't got to wait on nothing. You taking care of yourself. It's nice what they doing, but when it break down, the whole thing broke down. But now you got your pen, your pencil, what can you do? Whatever you want with it. Modern time is good. Modern time is good. It's fast. Now we're on the fast train now. With that old train, that you come back with that old train. That's where your sense is. But the sense we learning now, you can't get this is a new day. We learn the sense of the world now. That's what we learning today. And you can't go without it, because what you do now or what I did then, they don't do that no more. When at that time it was the right way. But you see, just like a child, it grows and grows. Every year it grows and grows. So now that makes a difference.
Mhm.
But I don't care what they say. A lot of people said back yonder with the good old days, I wouldn't live back there. When the people come along, when I came along, you could cook. You didn't experience that yet. Ain't been a year ago. You cook. Your food would taste so good. You sit there and eat. You just be full. You can sit down here and eat now. It take you 5 minutes to chew up a piece of steak. It's not chewed up then. You got it mashed up. It's still tough. Ain't nothing out there, I ain't gonna lie, that got a taste to it for eating lamb. You usually could get you some cornbread and some buttermilk. It was tasty. Get you some milk, then you gotta put some water and just kind of thin it out, pour it. You cook you some cornbread, put butter and everything in it. It ain't good like it used to be. You didn't have to put nothing in it but put it in the milk. Ain't no taste in the food.
So what changed?
What's changed?
What changed, or why did it change?
Why the food changed? Okay, now this is what I know. This is what I say, but I don't know why it changed. But when I come along, we was eating natural food. We wasn't putting no fertilizer and stuff no more come out the barnyard behind nothing for it to grow. Now they got all kind of sodas and stuff they put out there to make the stuff grow. When I come along, we raise chickens. They got there on their yard, throwing some corn out there, eating grass and stuff, throwing the corn out there. Chicken tastes real good. Now you just eating some chicken meat. Ain't no taste in it. Now, this substance, I don't know what's taking it out, is gone out of the food. Now this year just happened here. This year, last year, this year, that the food ain't got no taste in it. You could get out there and cook. Use some sweet potatoes. You could cook them in the ashes. You could take them out there and peel them. You could mash them up, put some butter, a little sugar on it, and you got to put no sugar if you don't want it, and eat it. It's sweet. You buy a potato now, you put it in the stove and bake it. It looks nice before you put it in the stove. When it gets baked, the skin on it that thick. You peel it off, the potato there done draw it up just like that skin draw it up. Potato ain't got no taste in it. Ain't nothing got no taste in it no more. Now the food been tasting pretty good. So this year, all the food don't taste tough because the way I can see it, I don't know what's happening. People can't afford the stuff they didn't used to feed them to make it the stuff tender and tasty. You know, tasting food. I knew you done had some steak. I knew it wasn't tender. Teeth or no teeth, they ain't tender no more. Ain't no taste in the food, period. No taste. So now what they doing to it, I don't know, because we could go out there in the yard and knock a chicken down, pick him, wash him and clean him up, and cook him for breakfast. It tastes good. Now you go down you go there and get a chicken. We let the chicken grow out there. He was eating the good stuff out there, grass and stuff out there. You can go down and cook it. I raised chicken since I've been here. I raised my own chicken. You can take them chickens right now, put them out there in a pen, and you can feed him. He put plenty of feed there and plenty of water. He just sit there and eat food and drink water and sleep. Every time he wake up, he gonna go to eating. Now, the chicken had to stay in there till he get big enough for you to kill him. You didn't count the week. Now you put some chicken, you buy you some chicken, try it yourself. You put him in a cup and feed him, you keep that feed in there for the chicken. In 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, that chicken on the market. That's how fast the chicken grows. Now what they put in to make it grow, I don't know. But that's the difference. Because when we were raising chicken, we fed them off of real corn.
Okay.
So now, with no chemicals in the corn, so we don't know what they're putting in the stuff to grow it fast as they're growing it now. But whatever it is now, they must be getting the stuff they used to get, ain't no taste in the food.
Voting back in the day.
That's what bothers me. Because I like good food. I like tasty food. You can season it. You let you use the seed. You just eating something.
Do you remember the first time that you? Do you remember the first time that you voted?
First time I voted.
Yes, ma'am.
When they lied. I think you was voting with the first time I voted. When they allowed people in Mississippi to vote. I wasn't here. But they said the folks said, I didn't say that, they put some corn in a jar and you had to count the grain of corn or something for the vote. But when I first voted, I was in Illinois.
Did you run into problems up there?
And I just learned to vote since we came back to Mississippi. But when I left here, there wasn't nobody voting. But the white people, colored folk wasn't voting. And now, it's so many of us children is down there in the penitentiary, how well they at. Tell this here, what's going on now. This is God's will, not ours. Because so many of the young people is in different places. I went to, lady came me somewhere to see her son, and I went to one place. So many was in there that you can't hear them talk. You done heard bees. Oh, you can hear them, you can hear nobody talk, because you can understand so many in there. Okay. I didn't see nobody that I thought was 30 years old or 40. Well, these young black folks, they pick them up, going and coming. Okay, as long as they gonna put them in there, and they stay in there, if it ain't but 3 or 4 days, when they come out, they got a black mark there. They can't vote. They can't vote. So now, this year, don't nobody know what happened with the law doing his work. If anybody had told you that this boy would have been, or this man would have been up there, you wouldn't have believed it, would you? I wouldn't either. See, that's what I'm going to try to show you. It's God's work, but these young college children, just for instance, you right now, you ain't no old man, you want to learn what the new stuff. And these college children know they can't come on up and live by what the old folks knew. Now, they mad with the folks, them college girls, they just praying to get 20 when they can vote, or 19 or whatever age to vote. Like what? It wasn't all these older people. It was quite a few old people, black folks, but them college children. And while they did it, they can't live with what you done lived along with. And yet ain't that plain today?
Yes, ma'am.
So every year is something different. It's different, and you got to try to go with the flow. Now, so you don't reason nobody getting mad with nobody. And so what's so killing, these white college children, they turned. Because they want, this a new day. They're going to the new stuff. You want to say, well, we can't live like our parents lived. Well, you know, to tell the truth. Because everything's coming up new. So all you young folks have to get out there and pray and follow suit. That's all I can tell you. Because I get out there and vote. I vote till I can't, but that's it. Ain't nothing I can do out there no more. We push the young folks.
And how are you going to do that?
Huh?
How are you going to do
Talk to them. When they come around me, talk to them. Child, you shouldn't do something, so you should get out there with the children, try to learn all you can learn. Go high you can go. That's what you should do.
Anything else you'd like to tell us, Miss Billups?
Huh?
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
Well, I wouldn't never tell you, thank God I done made it here. I done made it here 97 years, and I've been poor all my life. All my life. So I got out there and worked on cheap jobs. I worked at cheap jobs, stayed on them. And now they're paying off. Uncle Sam takes care of me. Now if I had to sit down and run around and steal and fight and kill and no job, what would I be getting now? Nothing. I just trying to get on the welfare, whatever you call it. I've been in here 97 years. You know, I was working right here in Dugan's. You know, cheap, I don't forget what it is paying, but cheap wages is always been in Mississippi. Okay. I went up there to the place, asked for some stamps. He asked me, where you work? I told him. He said, work. I said, no, he draw a pension. I mean, Social Security. He said, too many checks come in your house, y'all never be able to get a stamp. I ain't never had a stamp. I ain't never had charity in my life. Never. Because I work for my living, and God so fixed it, I can sit up here and wait until the third come. I ain't got to call up my man to get my money. I go to the bank or to the mailbox. I get to the bank and I go focus taking checks. So I go to the mail, go to the one and show my card. It eats me out my money. But if I had to sit down, I'd been at the hustle trying to get on charity. I ain't never had charity so far. So I got too old now for charity. They just give me something anyway if you want me to have something. I really need to do it. But now that's how I come up in the woods. I was born poor. I'm still poor, but I'm living. I ain't begging. I ain't borrowing. I'm sitting in this house. I don't owe nobody that penny on nothing in my house. I got a 3-bedroom house. And when the third come, my check rolls in.
Yes,
see what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
you see, you don't get out there trying to get the big stuff. I stayed on them cheap jobs, cheap. I stayed there. Now I could walk around here and not work, but I believe in being independent. I don't want to beg, borrow, or steal. I be independent. And that's the way I came up. And that's where I am now. I can't work now. See, my work paying off. Now, if I could have been coming on your time, I'd have been a millionaire. Because I'd have stuck with them jobs.
Yes, ma'am.
But when I come on job with nothing, because we have worked. We worked. Got hired for the chop. 50 cents a day. A day. And I remember one time, we was working for a man, chopping or something for a man called Dismute. And he rode a big old horse, and he was so big the horse had a sway in it back. So it was counting money. Now this is the truth. You know, he was counting, I was counting. How many days we work, how many hours when you get through that counting. He said, hell, you know more than I know. I never forget that. I sure did. I could beat him counting now. Yeah, you know more than I know. That's what I'm telling you, right in this field.
Yeah, to keep
Maybe you
him
just look at him. Our 4 pounds. Our 4 pounds. Is it called to them is up in college and stuff like that. Our 4 pounds out there working. You taking their money, schooling your kids. You see. You can see all that. You can see it now yourself. Now, we out there working. He was doctors now. You get sick, and you call a doctor. You couldn't call me. Go find somebody. Go find one. He may come there at the end of the week, and when he didn't get there, he's horse and buggy. Now, them old people, they didn't have no doctors. But God, they go out there and get them weeds and stuff like that. And you get a cold, they go out there, get them hog hoofs and boil them, put them in molasses, and you drink that for a cold. We had the whooping cough, they go out there and you see the tree sawed down in a hole in the middle. In the middle of that stump. But when it rains, it hold water. And see, if they go out there when you get the whooping cough, it's their doctors now. And people were living them days. They get that old black looking water. Out of there, they dip it out there, that hole, and strain it through a rag. And we drink it for the whooping cough. And it killed it too. You go out around the creeks and things, and find the whole hound, life everlasting stuff. Boil and put some molasses in the feed it for cold. You heal it too. Take hog hoof and put in there and boil them with the hog hoof thing, put in that stuff. And then when they get boiling, they take and strain it, put you some molasses and you drink it. Cause you know it wasn't no doctors. It was, they couldn't get to you. Them people, that's what I'm sure what God can do. Them people would doctor on them, the sick one, and it'd heal them. You hear nobody talk about no disease, no sugar, no cancer, no nothing. And them folk, they had to be living from God. Them folk go out and get all them herbs that they call them and fix them up and kill the folks. They did that. You make up that tea, you fix it up, you gonna drink it. Hog hoof, life everlasting, whole hound. That's what they call that stuff.
What did it taste like?
Huh?
What did it taste like?
Well, some of it be bitter, but you see, they put molasses in to sweeten it, and you drink it, and put you to bed. And see, the cows then, had fat on them. They strip all that fat off of them where they could get it from, off the tail and wherever the fat was. Put them in the boiler and boil it. Let it boil down. Let all the water boil out. That stuff would make tallow. When they get the tallow get hard, they take it out there. When they get through cooking, all the grease done come out. Then they drain that grease through a rag and set it up, and it would get hard just like them candles in them cans there. It would get hard. They cut it out and put it in bags. You get a cold, it grills your chest, all on the bottom of your feet, all around you. That's for a bad cold. Put an old yarn thing across your chest and let you go to bed. See when you get well. Well, no doctors. Them folks are doctors. See, God is leading them folks. But now the devil leading the folks now. They doing what the devil said. They tell you the devil made me do it. So, child, I'm telling you. It was prejudice. But them old days back there, if you were smart enough to raise your own stuff, you lived it then. You lived in the old days. There's no doctors coming around, nothing. And people now, poor people used to come by, they used to call them tramps. The people would come by, if my mama had some bread, they said, Miss, we hungry. She'd advise what she'd give with them people. It's white too. They would vibe with them people. And people weren't trying to harm nobody. But now folks, right now you pay me throw the bread out there to the dog for to get to you. Child, them with the good old days. Y'all should have been on them days. You could say the same thing I'm saying. Good old days. You didn't go to town in a wagon sitting on bales of hay if you had any hay. You had a good time.
Well, Ms. Billups, this concludes our interview. Certainly thank you for your time. We thank you for your time. This concludes our interview with you.
You're welcome, but I hope I enlightened you something. Maybe you bring your children up back one day.
Well, that's part of what we hope to do.
So that's what you have to do.
And that's why, in essence, you've summarized why we're doing this. Because we realize that the knowledge that you have is something that we need to impart on our own children.
I ain't never one of them PhD, but I got this much in my head as they got in my head. What I got in my head better than theirs. Because mine do some good.
I agree. Well, thank you again for your time.
Thank y'all for coming, but y'all called me on. If I didn't know this, I'd have left home. You wouldn't call me. You sure wouldn't. You sure wouldn't call me. You don't put that.
I'm telling you now, I'm telling you something. I learned something today that I'm going to cherish for life.
What did you learn?
What you were telling me about, you were talking about the good old days, if you could do for yourself, you ain't had to worry about these white folks. And that's what you got to do now. Really, you do. If you got your own, you don't have to worry and beg nobody for nothing.
Racism can't hurt you.
Racism can't hurt you at all.
But see, what I say, all my help come from the Lord. By me not sitting down saying, I ain't going. I ain't gonna work today. Go.
That's right. And that's another thing that lifted my eyebrow. You got a lot of young people are being subsidized more than senior citizens are, and they don't even want to work. But
Capable of working.
and they are capable of working, but they won't do it. But yet and still, they blame everything on the white folks. Well, they should be blaming themselves.
Now, let me show you what I see. You see that TV sitting there?
Yes, ma'am.
Turn around there. I'm gonna have it fixed one day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the first TV that my mother ever seen. And I was in Chicago. Me and my sister bought that TV from down here. They made up there, where they co-op on up there with sell that stuff right up there in Westport by the city hall.
Okay.
Way back up. Me and my sister got that television for my mother. And the children read it when someone come on television, they kick and try to make it come on. So I'm gonna see can I have it fixed. And just let it sit there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you children, y'all you have to think for yourself, you got to pray, and you got to do. And if what you do, people don't like what you're doing, keep your mouth shut, keep on doing what you're doing.
Right.
You pay off one day.
Well, you take care of yourself. You know.
I'm gonna do that. But I do the best I can. But this young here boy here, the James T. That's the boy, you the oldest one, ain't you?
Ooh, I think I'm a few months older than Maurice.
Now you the oldest of your daddy, she was saying.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I'm talking about James T.
Yes, ma'am. I'm the oldest.
Where you live at?
In Jackson, Mississippi.
When you live in Jack, you were with your mama got to come down there and see all the time.
Yes, ma'am. She come down there and see those grandkids.
That's what I'm telling you
Yes,
now.
ma'am. Yep. She come down there and see.
Where you find little young man?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.